I think one of the hints to know what God is like is in the passage of Genesis chapter 9, verse 6. Actually, Genesis chapter 9, verse 5 and 6. God mentions the value of life, but not just any life, not just any living organism, but the value of humans, specifically mankind. Now, the Bible doesn't say that women were made in the image of God. I know women don't want to hear that. And I know a lot of Christians think that women are also in the image of God, but women are not in the image of God. I'm going to give you two reasons why. And I know a lot of women hate Paul because Paul says things that really shut women down. And his intention is not meant to shut women down. It's just that when you lack humility and someone says something, it's going to offend you if you lack humility. And a lot of women are not humble. I just keep it at a buck. A lot of women are not humble. You know, it's because of women that we are in the situation that we are in now. Adam did not want to be like God. Eve wanted to be like God. The devil did not go to Adam because Adam wasn't going to fall for that. Adam was content with his lot in life. Eve was not. Eve she was like, oh, I could be like God. I could be independent. Independent ladies, independent spirit. We're just as good as men. Even though men don't say you're less than us. No, but they say if men can do it, we can do it too. Even though obviously there is a hierarchy. God says this. This isn't what I'm saying. God says this. But women will disagree with this. So their disagreement is with God, not with man. You know, but two reasons why you would know that women are not made in the image of God. One, common sense. God is a man. He's not a woman. So how can a woman be in the image of God? Right? I mean, God is a man. He's not a fleshly man, but spirit-wise, status-wise, he's a man. He calls himself as a manly person of war. His children are all sons of the true God. The second thing, Paul said, like I said, women are not going to like this, but I can't lie. I got to say what the Bible says. Okay, so I'm not going to try to, as much as I would like to sugarcoat things to please my female followers, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm not going to take a bite of the forbidden fruit just to please my wife. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make the same mistake Adam did. So I'm going to make sure I say what I know should be said. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat anything. Paul said that man was not made for woman, but woman was made for man. He also said, for man was made in God's image and not womankind. He said this. Okay, so that's just two quick things for you to think about. But in Genesis chapter 9, verse 5 and 6, God said that, again, he says, if a man's blood is shed, then, and obviously this is in context, it applies to women too, but he says, if the reason why I'm trying to focus on men is to prove a case because of the image of God, right? That's why I'm trying to not exclude women, but you see how I got to explain this because women will be listening and they're going to be offended. It's ridiculous. I mean, come on, women. It's not that serious, really. But lack of humility, that's what that is. Like if God told me that I'm less than this person, okay, fine, I'm less than them. I ain't gonna be like, no, why are they better than me? That's not fair. No, I'm just as good as they are. No, if I'm less than them, I'm less than them. That's it. I'll accept my spot. No, you got to be so. But yeah, Genesis chapter 9, verse 5 and 6. God says that if a person sheds a man's blood, by his own blood, they should die. God would ask the man's blood from the killer's hands. And even if an animal were to kill a man, God will ask the blood of the man back from the animal, right? And then in verse 6, he states why. He says, because in God's own image, he made man. In God's own image, he made man. So an animal could be killed. Doesn't matter, because the animal is not made in God's image. Plants can be destroyed. You can cut down trees. They're alive, but it doesn't matter because they are not made in God's image. But if you kill a man, that's something serious. Why? God says, because he is made in my image. So what is it about men that correlates with God so that it is such a sin to kill a man and to take his life away from him? What is it that men share with God? Now, each man that's alive have their own personalities, but there is still one general rule of thumb that identifies a man as a man. And what is that? Now, whatever that is the image of God. So, for example, it's a couple things, but it's really not that many. But the couple things would be, we could speak, right? Animals have tongues, but they can't speak. They can't express their thoughts. As a matter of fact, they don't even know what they're thinking. They don't even know that they are alive. They don't even know that they are an animal. So the image of God, one, is that you know that you exist. You know that you are a man. You know that you are a woman. You know who you are. That's one. So because of that, you fear death. But animals fear death not because they know they exist. No, they fear death because of instinct. Instinctively, they have to fear it so they can preserve their race. They can preserve their kind. God put that in them so that they won't become extinct. But they don't want to live because they know they exist, or that they know they are a deer, they are a lion, they are a rabbit, or they are a dog, or they are a shark. No, that's not why they want to live. They want to live because instinctively, God put it in them to try to live so that they could keep living. But humans, we want to live not because we want to keep living. We want to live because we don't want to die. There's a difference. I don't really need to explain that too much. If I do need to explain that, you're not really a thinker, because come on. There's a difference between why animals want to live, and there's a difference between why humans want to live. Because we have forever in our hearts. We want to live forever. But the reason why we die is because of sin. The reason why animals die is because they were made to die eventually. No animal was made to live forever. So flies, maggots, deers, cats, dogs, sharks, they all will die, not because of sin, but because they are meant to die. So it would be wicked if God put in them a desire to live because they knew that they existed, and then at the same time allow them to be eaten and hunted and die, So their reason for living is different from man's. So when a man dies, it's a really bad thing because they are in the image of God in that they want to live. Now, of course, God is not like God wants to live and he can die. No, but the fact that we know we exist that's part of the image of God. God knows he exists. He knows who he is, right? That's one. Two, we can speak our thoughts, right? That's two. Three, we can show all the spirit of God. What is that? Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, laughter, happiness, sadness, right? Anger, passion, desire. All these things are part of the spiritual nature of man. That is the image that God is speaking about. But now there is another image that makes a man a man. And what is that? What is the common denominator of all men? There's a Japanese animation that starts off by saying, once, it's called Grapplabaki. And it says, once, if a child is born a male, at least once in his lifetime, he will dream of becoming the strongest man alive. Pride, ego, being valiant, right? Power, strength, might, vigor, passion, strong, dominant traits, every man has that. Even if a man is weak and flimsy, he still has that within his nature. That is the image of God that a man has. So couple that with everything that I just mentioned prior, like a man knows he exists. He can express his thoughts. He can express the spiritual nature of God that God put in him, right? All of this encompasses what God is like. But the only difference is that God is not covered in flesh. We are covered in flesh. Why? Because we are put on the earth. So we are made from the earth. Adam means earth, right? So Adam was made from the earth. So whatever color Adam was, it would have been whatever the color the earth was, So, but Adam is covered in earth because he lives on earth. But the true identity or the true mark or the true figure of Adam as a man is not his being covered in flesh. It is his spiritual content that God has put within him. Because God could have made Adam, but he could have made Adam like a lion. And Adam wouldn't have known that he exists. Adam wouldn't have been able to speak his thoughts. He could have been like Nebuchadnezzar. Remember when God punished Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar was like a wild beast and he couldn't talk, and he was like a wild animal for like 7 years, I believe it was. God could have made humans like that, but no, so God can make he can make a lion in the image of God if he wanted to, right? So a lion could be a man if God put his spirit, his full spirit within the lion. The lion could be a man too, right? So it is not the physicality of a man that makes a man a man. It is the spiritual content that God put within the man, which is why God calls man to walk upright and straight and stand up, with a good stance, with power, right? And he crowned the man with a beard, right? And everything else that a man has. But God is not flesh. He's a spirit. So he is what man is, but he's not covered in flesh. Or man is what God is, but man is covered in flesh. I should put it that way. So that is what God is really like. But of course, he is more than that. This is just to help you to see why God says that to kill a man is a grave sin, because he is in my image. That is why it's such a grave sin. And so what is it that makes us in his image? This unique, beautiful thing that God has given us. What is that? Well, look at the common denominator of all men. What do all men share? Pride, vigor, dominance, power. Everybody wants to be the best. Everybody wants to be the strongest, right? It's a manly nature.